Hello, this is John Hartson. Welcome to Claret and Blue Army TV.
Welcome to Claret and Blue Army TV with me, your host, Baz Cox. Tonight I'm joined by my co-host, Frankie, and we're pleased to welcome to our show former Hammer, Danny Collins. How are you, Danny?
I'm good, thank you. How are you, lads?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you.
Good.
Very good.
Danny, obviously today is the 8-year anniversary of the playoff promotion for West Ham, which you was part of that season. You joined us on loan in the March, made your debut the following day at home against Doncaster, coming on as a sub.
Yeah.
What was it like being in and around the club at that time, coming in so late with the promotion push that we was chasing?
Yeah, I mean, obviously coming in, as you say there, after Christmas, so you're halfway through the season already, but I think it was quite easy for me to come in at the time because I think you were obviously third in the league at the time. So, you know, when a club's obviously going well and winning games, it's always a nice place to go into around the training ground. On the flip side of that, if I came into the club and you were 19th in the league, you know, it's a bit of doom and gloom around the place. So, obviously, yeah, it was quite easy to settle in. It was quite quick, really. I think I came down on the Thursday evening, trained on the Friday, and then obviously straight into the squad on the bench on the Saturday. And it was nice to get out. I think I might have got 15, 20 minutes or so. So it was nice to come out and get a run out. And but yeah, no, it's a good bunch of lads. It was a good place to come into and a good professional club.
What was Sam Allardyce's words to you? Like obviously just before you had signed, his reason for bringing you to the club. Was the promotion mentioned, or was it, without being disrespectful, strictly to be a replacement and a squad player? Because obviously you made 11 appearances out of the 13 games that we had left, league games, or 12 league games we had left as well. So he must have had plans for you.
Yeah, no, I think I got the call, and I say I've been at Ipswich on the first half of the season. I came back just before Christmas. I played for Ipswich actually not long before at Upton Park against West Ham, and then got back to Stoke, played a couple of games there in the Europa League, and then Tony called me in and just said that Sam had Winston Reid had got an injury away with New Zealand. I think he had a bad head injury. He was going to be out for a few weeks, and they had, you know, obviously I think James Tompkins was down there, Abdoulaye Faye, and then there was pretty short in the centre half department. So asked if I'd come down, and that was it. I got in the car, came down, and got myself into the squad early on, as you say. Obviously came on in the first game and then started the next game away at Leeds. But yeah, it was nice to come down and to get back out there and playing and being part of a team who were obviously in a good vein of form.
Talking of Leeds, obviously you got your only goal for us up there, and you rose like a salmon up there, didn't you? You're on the end of that.
Yeah, last minute equaliser, wasn't it? Yeah, I remember
having a run of results then, wasn't it? 1-1, 1-1, 1-1, 2.
Yeah, a few draws, wasn't there, in there as well? No, just went up for the corner then and sort of come off the head stroke shoulder and looped into the top corner, and great feeling. Yeah, went on a bit of a mad celebration running back towards the West Ham fans, which were obviously down past the dugouts. And
we would have been pretty calm though, weren't we, as fans? We did.
No, it was obviously going mad. Big fixture, obviously, in the Championship. You know, I think it was pretty much a sellout on the day as well. I think they were about 9th or 10th in the table, but no, to go there, and you obviously don't want to lose against certainly your rivals and the big teams, and to get back on the bus with a point and to obviously get a goal away, it was a nice feeling, and nice to go out there, as you say, full debut and to contribute.
Obviously, at that point in time as well, automatic promotion was still very much a possibility. And obviously, in the end, we missed out by 2 points, which isn't a lot at all. So that point could have meant everything to automatic promotion, really. And we all know what happened in the end. And we luckily went through via playoffs, which we've had quite a good sort of luck of playoff finals. We've obviously lost 1-2 in recent years. So the playoffs is the best way to go up. And it always the best for the fans, but it's always the most nerve-wracking. At that time, was there a lot of pressure to try and push for that automatic spot? Was that the expectation? Is that what Sam was sort of setting out as what the goal was?
Yeah, that was always the aim. As soon as I came there, you know, in the meeting room at the back of the room, I remember there was a board on the wall there. Sort of Sam used to break the games down. I think it was in, say, groups of 5s or 10, and what was the realistic chance of picking up points in those games and what the targets were. And obviously, it was always mentioned when we had the meetings that obviously, you know, automatic promotion was the aim. You know, when I came in, as you mentioned there was about 12 games go. So being third, always around third. I think Southampton and Reading were the teams above us at the time, and just trying to catch them and stay in with there. But I think, as you mentioned, the 1-1s and the little draws there obviously caught up with us in the end, and it was to obviously go through the playoffs in the end. But as you mentioned there, certainly there's no better way, I suppose, than to win a game of football and to get promoted into the Premier League.
Yeah, Reading went on a mad run, didn't they? Just after Christmas, they just come taking over everyone. Talking of the playoffs, obviously your loan spell come to an end, and you didn't feature in the last league game against Hull.
Yeah.
Where was you part of the club when we had this semi-final against Cardiff and obviously the final against Blackpool? Was you in and around? Was you invited still, or?
Yeah, I mean, I was down there, I was training, and sat in and around the bench. I remember, obviously, went with for the semi-final playoff games. I was at both of them, and then obviously there's then the break between the final of a couple of weeks where I had a chat with Sam and whether I was going to stay down in London and be around it and training, where obviously I wasn't going to play. So we had a discussion, and I left and came back up north to be back with the family, and got the holidays booked there, and went out to Spain, and then went up to the pub at the top of the complex, and had a couple of beers with the father-in-law and watched the game, and it was certainly a good result. I think it was Baz got the winner with a couple of minutes to go, and watching the scenes after, the boys were in good spirits.
Was there ever any talk to you about coming back after the loan spell, whether we got promoted or not, or was it just?
I can't remember. I mean, obviously, I went to Forest at the start of the next season. I had 3 years at Forest, but no, I can't remember. And to be honest with you, obviously, it's going back 8 years now. I think obviously that was the loan spell up. There was no chat, I don't think, regarding a permanent deal or anything like that. But as I say, I was there at the club for a couple of months, featured in the majority of the games. Enjoyed my time down there and felt like I contributed.
How vital was Kevin Nolan as captain at that time?
Yeah, Kev was big. I'd obviously played against him a fair few times when he was playing for Bolton and Newcastle, I think. And Kev was always a vocal player on the pitch, and certainly in the meeting rooms. Sam obviously took the meetings, but Kev certainly had his fair share of chat, if you like, and got his points across in the meeting room. And he was a typical good skipper, as I'd say. If lads ever needed anything, or they could go and speak to Kevin, he'd voice his opinion, and a good character around the changing rooms.
Yeah, he's now at the club as a coach, which is obviously a good thing. And what I was going to say, back then, obviously, Mark Noble's now the club captain, and for most of us fans, we see him because he understands what West Ham means.
Yeah.
Could you see anything in him at the time you was at West Ham in Mark Noble, like to know he'd come to what he's at now with us and be that club captain? Would he have learnt a lot from Nolan as well?
I'd certainly say he has, yeah. And as you know, obviously he's been at the club since he was a young'un, and he just, he bleeds West Ham, doesn't he? So I think what I would say about Nobes is, before I went to the club, I think a lot of people probably say you don't realise what a good player he is until you've been in and around and seen him in the training, even in the five-a-sides in training. He's neat and tidy on the ball. And yeah, I think he's obviously picked up a lot from Kevin, and he's gone on and he's been a good solid captain for West Ham. And I'd say the thing which probably shows his character is that the amount of turnover of players West Ham have had in the last 4 or 5 years. A lot of foreign players have come and gone. Managers have even come and gone. So it's been a hard changing room, and I think he'll have been the centre focal point for the club and for the players in the tough times what you've obviously had, and obviously the transitional period in moving stadiums as well.
Yeah, good point.
Throughout your career as well, you've sort of always played for solid working class teams that have got really hardcore fan bases and quite large fan bases, but teams that never expect to be well beaters but expect 110% from their sort of players every single game. Did you see any difference between your times at Stoke and Sunderland at West Ham? Was there any real differences between the sides you played with before?
No, as you say, big expectancy. Obviously teams that have been in the Premier League, Sunderland, they've got 40,000, 45,000 when it's packed up here, and when things I've had 2 promotions and a relegation at the club, so I've tasted both sides of it. When things are going great, it's probably one of the best places in England to play football. But on the flip side of that, I was in the season we got relegated from the Premier League as well, and it was tough. Some lads can get eaten up in the stadium, if the first 15, 20 minutes things aren't going well, they certainly let you know about it. And it's the same. It was the same at Upton Park, really, and I've got no problem with that. I think you have to have a thick skin to be a footballer. If you don't, you'll crumble, and you're only going to get better in them circumstances by playing games and getting older and taking it on board. But yeah, I say, we mentioned it before there, West Ham, certainly at Upton Park, it was a nice compact ground and the fans are only a couple of yards away from you. And they'd let you know if things weren't going well. But on the same side, it was a great place to go, And when we had a couple of good results, I think we beat Brighton, was it 5 or 6-0 maybe?
First place.
Do you remember it? Yeah, it was a great day, and the place was electric. So I get what you're saying. These are, as you say, working class cities and teams that are expecting, and the first thing they want to see on a Saturday is their players going out there and running through brick walls for the team.
And how does that affect a player when you've got the fans on your back, and we've got a couple of players at the moment that, Anderson being one of them, who we think's got all the talent in the world, but if he tries a few skills and it don't quite come off, or we don't see him giving that 110%, the crowd can really get on his back. Does it take a certain character and type of person to thrive for clubs that have that sort of fan expectation of that 100% commitment and work rate? Have you seen people struggle with that before?
Yeah, definitely. As you mentioned there, I think actually up at Sunderland, going back to my time there, I remember Mick McCarthy had us. We actually moved from training at the training ground. We went to take a few sessions in the stadium because, as I say, the season we struggled there. He thought it might help us if we get used to going in training, and that's obviously there's no fans in there at the time, but just getting us used to it. And he said, "What's the issue, lads? Because we seem to be playing better away from home than what we were back at the Stadium of Light." And one of the lads said, "It's this gaffer," meaning like obviously the atmosphere when we're struggling, or if we go a goal down early on and the groans come out. And he was probably right in a way, but at the same time, what can you do to change that? The only thing you can do is go out there and start winning football matches, I suppose, and showing the effort and the work rate. And if there are one or two lads who I have played with in my time, and we won't mention names as such, but
come on,
lads who perhaps don't want to roll their sleeves up and dig in, and they'll get found out in their atmospheres.
But that's it. And for us, it's not always about winning games. I remember we've been 5-0 down away to Bolton, and we was doing the conga up and down the aisles. And sometimes for us, it was just about showing, if we can see the commitment from players. And Joe Cole said it in an interview on Sky recently. And he turned around and said, look, West Ham fans don't expect that much actually. All they do expect is 110% commitment when you put that shirt on and you go out there. And if they can see that, win, lose or draw, it doesn't matter. And that is how we are. But obviously with modern day football, it's becoming a little bit harder to get that right attitude out of the professional players. And we saw that recently at Sunderland when we've been through it on our channel before with Josh Madger, who was obviously scoring goals for fun and then sort of had his head turned very early on in his career by agents and so on. Is that a bit of a problem in modern day football at the moment, do you think?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, obviously, you probably look at Declan Rice. I think he'd only played five or so games last year, came into the squad and done well. And then the next minute, all the media are hyping everything up and that. And I'm just sort of sat watching it personally thinking, let's give him a bit of time here and see how he develops over the next couple of years. They were having him off to Real Madrid and all these type of places with it, having played 5 games under his belt. Same with the Longstaff brothers up at Newcastle, really, up here. So there is a lot of pressure put on these lads at an early age. But, obviously, as you say there, if he's got the likes of Mark Noble in and around him, who will be in his ear at the training ground and on the pitch, helping him through, certainly tough times if you're getting him down at the new stadium. They need I go back to it, that thick skin, and they'll get used to it, and they're only going to gain the experience and the know-how by playing games and getting, streetwise on the pitch, if you like.
Do you think these players also can be advised wrong, though? Because we've had 2 players at West Ham, Declan Rice and obviously Reece Oxford. Yeah. And Reece Oxford made his debut in the 2016 season at Arsenal and was head and shoulders above everyone else on the pitch. And the talk was there, but he never progressed on from that. He may have played another few games where he was all right, but as soon as he got dropped, the attitude kicked in. With Declan Rice, like you said, and Declan got dropped 3 times in the same season. Once when we played Liverpool away, at half time, he got bought off. Newcastle away got bought off at half time. Arsenal away got bought off as soon as we conceded goals.
Yeah.
But every time he's come back and he's bounced back. And as a fan, back to what Frankie was saying earlier.
Yeah.
If you give it and you make a mistake, if you go hiding, we're going to boo you. But come back and show you want it again, and you'll try again, and we'll support you. Is that things that are advised to people wrongly in the game, do you think?
Yeah, possibly. I think obviously I don't know Declan, but just from looking on the outside, I think his character, he looks like the type who, if he does get dropped, yeah, he'll be disappointed, as most players would be if they get dragged at half time. And I think because he's a young lad, he's always, what we say, is the easy option for the manager. You know, I've played with lads, and 45 minutes or an hour, he gets the hook every week because he's the easy option to bring off when managers try and freshen ill. But to me, he looks like the type of character who'll say, right, I'm going to get back to the training ground on a Monday morning, get back out there and show the manager that I'm ready to get back in. Yeah, I'm disappointed, but I want to be back in the team come Saturday or midweek, whenever the next game is.
Reece Oxford recently come out and said that he left or wanted to leave West Ham because there was a lot of competition and he didn't really see a way through. I mean, is that the right attitude to have, or do you think as a youngster you should really be knuckling down and trying to prove yourself?
Could be a bit of both. I think perhaps it depends who the manager is. You might get the manager who likes the experienced players and might say, oh, it's not the right, for instance, if you've just been promoted from the Championship to the Premier League, you might think a young lad might get washed up in it, so I'm going to go for an experienced centre-half or something, and he might feel he's down the pecking order, he's not going to get his chance, so he might have to either go out on loan somewhere or ask to leave. But at the same time, I've been in situations myself where the manager might say, or you might be third choice or fourth choice. But I'll say, all right, thanks very much for letting me know, Gaffer, but I'm going to stick around and I'm going to train there and try and fight for the shirt. So I think it can go both ways. Again, depends what the type of character is they've got inside them as well. So if they want to do that, and as I say, looking at Declan, he seems to be a bit of the Mark Noble mould in terms of he looks like he loves playing for West Ham and he wants to fight for the shirt and he wants to be out there on a Saturday.
Yeah, I'll make you right there. With the way of the world at the moment, and obviously football being shut down, and now the talk of the players going back training, what's your views on that? Do you think it's right? Do you think it's saved time for that to happen?
I think it's a tough shout. Obviously it's been going on for weeks, and yeah, everyone's missing football, and we've seen that the Bundesliga started back up at the weekend, and just watching a few clips off that, it was strange watching it. And again,
that's not the football that we've missed, is it? Watching that.
No, not at all. As you say, yeah, everyone's clutch. Everyone's pleased because there's German football. I mean, I don't watch a lot of German football, I'll be honest, but everyone seemed relieved that there was some football on the telly to watch. But you've got the subs sitting 3 or 4 yards apart. Everything's getting washed down and stuff. Yet in a game, the wall are all stood together. Everyone's marking. The hands are took. So it's a bit of a strange one. And then obviously you're playing in the empty stadiums where. I've played in empty stadiums in terms of pre-season friendlies or, 11v11. 11v11 games, if you have them at the stadium, if the manager thinks things aren't going right, sometimes you'll go and have 11-11 at the stadium. But It's just strange. You can hear everybody shouting stuff. It just doesn't feel like a proper match. But I do think that the stage we're at in the season, if it was 10 games into the season, I'd probably say, yeah, scrap it. But I do think because we're at the business end and because Liverpool are so far ahead in what they are and they haven't won the league for 30 years, everyone wants to get the season finished. And personally, I do think it is the right decision to get it finished. And whether we start next season in a cup October or whenever it may be, I do think it's the right decision to try and get it finished. I know fans will be disappointed because they want to go. A lot of fans love going to a game on a Saturday and it's a family day out, or the lads like to get together for a beer and go and watch the games, but. If you're sat in your living room watching games with, 8 or 10 games, whatever's left in the season now, then so be it if we have to do that to get the season finished.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it has to be concluded. You can't come this far through for it not. But I just worry that, and I find it really disrespectful for footballers, and not just the footballers. You got the kit men involved as well.
Yeah.
We've all got to go to work every day.
Yeah.
It should be finished. Next season hasn't started. So if you're going to scrap something, scrap the start of that.
Yeah.
Get this done when the time's right. I just feel for these footballers and as I say, kitmen, whoever's involved in the club for match days and stuff.
Yeah,
they're being put at risk, and Yourself, if you were still playing today, I've seen Troy Deeney said now he'd rather be skint and not earn a penny than go to work and risk his son's health.
Yeah.
Would you make that decision? Would you go back?
Yeah, in a way, you feel like you're forced into being. I'm not saying forced into doing it because obviously they're still getting paid a lot of money, these lads. But I know what you're saying. I mean, I popped into Tesco's and you feel a bit on edge even when you're in Tesco's or the petrol station at the minute. So going into training every day, you're mixing, as you say, not just with a 20, 25-man squad. The lady who makes the dinner, or you've got the chefs, you've got the kit staff, you've got the doctors, you've got the physio. There's a lot of staff involved as well. So yes, there's a lot of people still involved even on in the stadiums when there's not fans in there, but you've still got the medical staff, you've got everybody else in there mixing. So there's a lot to take on board. I think there was results came out today that they tested 750 people at Premier League clubs, and 6 tests have come back positive. So yes, it's a small minority of the amount of tests that have been done, but it's still showing that it's getting in and around, and it could spread again.
What do you think about fitness with regards to the players? Do you think, obviously, there's a very big difference between being fit and being match fit. Do you think they'll come back and what type of football would we expect to see behind closed doors? They're not going to hit the ground running, obviously, and there's only a small amount of the season left. I mean, how do you see that working out?
I think after watching the first game, it'd be like watching Harry's Heroes from last night after about the second half when they came out, to be honest. But no, it'd be... I've seen a lot of people saying, these lads should be able to keep themselves match fit. They'll all have gyms in their houses and exercise, but completely different. I mean, even playing, if say you've had a long injury, you've been out with a knee injury or whatever injury you've had, a tear, you're out for 6 to 8 weeks. Usually you come back with the physio, you do your own stuff with him for a week or 2. Then you may join in full sessions with the lads. Then you might go and play a 23s game behind closed doors. And even a 23s game isn't the same tempo. It's just not the same as playing a first team fixture. So I wouldn't expect lads to go in now and have a week's training and be ready to go. Again, I think you'll see a lot of injuries picked up, and it'll probably take till the middle of June, I'd say, at least to before they're ready and match fit, good to go.
Is that quite dangerous in itself, that somebody could come back and get quite a long-term injury and it can really upset someone's career? Is that a risk that no one's really talking about?
No, you haven't really heard it, but yeah, it's certainly a possibility. I think so. As you say, lads will, even if lads are going out, they're doing a 20-minute jog or they're on the exercise bikes or whatever, completely different to doing a training session, a tough training session on a Tuesday, all them short, sharp movements. Your muscles won't be used to it, match speed, ready to go. And you'll probably see a lot of lads, as I say, picking up thigh strains or calves will go, and the treatment rooms will probably be quite busy, I'd imagine. But everyone wants football to get going again. So for me, I think you're looking at the middle of June before you should look to get it started up again.
Yeah, fair shout. I think that pretty much sums up everything about football right now. Really grateful for your stories from your days at West Ham and your time like Danny. Really do appreciate that.
Yeah.
Wish you all the best.
We obviously as well. We had our own Collins Ginger Pele link with of recent years, and obviously from your Sunderland days, you had a bit of a Brazilian striker link with yourself. They always used to say you could have played for Brazil and so on. Where did that come from?
I don't know where that song came from. I'd love to meet the guy who made it up. He must have had a few beers in him, but. No, Ginger's obviously a good lad. A few caps down at Wales with him down in the Welsh squads and that. And no, he's a good lad, and as you say, a good 100%er one even in his day. Good centre half, good old fashioned, solid centre half.
Absolutely. And Baz, did you want to touch upon the event that we've got going on to win Pele's Golden Boot?
Yeah, I can do, mate, happily. As you've all seen through Twitter on Claret and Blue Army TV, we have a FIFA tournament now out on the PS4. In aid of Isla Caton and her fight against neuroblastoma. We're not closing entries to numbers. You've got until 6 p.m. tomorrow to get your entries in for the tournament, and the lucky winner will win a signed replica gold boot signed by Pele, one of the world's greatest ever footballers, and that will be yours if you get through and win this competition. Just follow the tweets on our page where you can enter, how to enter, what you need to do. And tomorrow we will come with you about midday and we'll give you the full details on where you need to subscribe to, etc., etc. But don't forget to get your entries in as soon as possible. And as I say, all money raised will be going to Isla and her fight against neuroblastoma.
Thank you
Do you
very
want to
much.
close it, Frank? Or do you want me-
No, you go for it, mate. Go for it.
Once again, Danny, thank you very much for your time this evening. Really appreciate everything. Take
Okay.
good care, stay safe, and for you lot who listened and watched, make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And thank you for watching Clarendon Blue Army TV.